Kyle reviewed. Like and subscribe.
Hey guys, just finished watching Pennyworth, Season 1, Episode 6, Cilla Black. This episode was quite interesting, really kind of good, interesting, a lot of kind of action and thriller kind of going on, and they're kind of slowly, looks like they're teasing a little bit more of the supernatural, kind of a little bit more leaning towards the comic bookness type thing, at least kind of just paving the way to have that option just to see as to kind of how things kind of could go with it. And I like how they're doing that in this episode. Like I said, this show was very much like the beginning of the first season of Gotham, how it stayed very much of a gangster show, and this is much more of a gangster, not so much of a gangster, but more of a, that was more of a gangster mob show type thing, whereas here this is much more of a just kind of a spy, James Bond-ish thriller, but like a dialed back, James Bond drama type thing, more than a James Bond thriller, just because they obviously can't do the huge action stunts like jumping on cranes and stuff like Daniel Craig's been doing. But I mean, this episode was kind of really interesting, kind of setting up the option to kind of going a little bit more comic book building route. So we start off this episode. It's very much more of a Thomas Wayne episode than it is more of an Alfred episode, which is kind of interesting for this show. We see that Thomas Wayne suspects that Alfred, it was working for, and he straight up tells the two of them, tells Alfred and his friend there, who was in the last episode, that he was working for a Ripper when he killed the leader of the No Name Society. So that's quite interesting, although he doesn't know why. We see that we found out Alfred knows that Thomas is CIA, so that's interesting there, seeing how he's going to play with that information, but we don't know whether or not Thomas knows that Alfred knows that he's CIA type thing, so I think it's quite interesting there, and I kind of forgetting as to how he found out, but we'll have to wait and see as to where things kind of go with that. We see that Sandra, is pissed off at Alfred, for hooking up with her and, not talking to her after they hook up type thing. So Sandra is the daughter of the bartender, or she's one of the bartenders at the bar, and the daughter of her father owns the bar type thing. So that was quite interesting there. It'd be interesting to see how that relationship goes, or if it goes anywhere at all. We see that. We see Ripper. Alfred goes to see Ripper and he gets the name of someone who can help point him in the right direction to finding out who killed Esme type thing, and he gets a name called Baron Ortsey type thing, who turns out to be a witch who lives who's imprisoned, I think. It's unclear as to how I guess she's in a mental hospital a little bit. So that's kind of interesting there. And she asks for a rose and a severed serial killer's hand type thing, left hand. So that was quite interesting. And then, as things that fate would have it, as obviously it was as predictable as it would be, he just stumbles upon that later on type thing without having to go out and actually look for that. He just kind of happens to find them, right? So that was quite interesting there, seeing if there's any kind of, actually witchery kind of going on. That could be quite fun. We see Thomas is told that, he might have to kill Grout or Gaunt, the leader of the Raven Society. What was her name? I think it was Patricia. No, Patricia is Mr. Wayne. Frances Grout, he might have to kill her if she doesn't agree to the truth type thing. So that was going to be interesting there, but he doesn't end up killing her. We see Thomas Wayne before he's about to go off to do this meeting type thing, and he has to drop off his sister to Martha, because his sister shows up. She's like drunk and all whacked out of her mind type thing. So they pretend to be exes type thing. So that's quite interesting, and a little bit of idea kind of leading towards the eventually of them, being together type thing and moving to Gotham. That'll be quite cool as to where things kind of go with that. And even we see that his sister mentions that he's, a billionaire type thing. So that's quite interesting there, especially when she says that, Martha Wayne says that Martha Kane says that she dumped him type thing, and his sister's like, really, you dumped a billionaire type thing? So that's quite interesting there, playing with that, whether or not, kind of playing with the idea of knowing whether or not that, did Martha know that Thomas Wayne was a billionaire type thing. That could be quite interesting there, to seeing as to how that kind of relationship, I like where the relationship is going right now. It's nowhere near them, getting connected, right, type thing. So that could be quite fun to see as to where things go as they build up a relationship. We see Martha and Patricia end up, go to a satanic party type thing, which was kind of weird. I understand Patricia. It's like we missed a scene that was kind of deleted where Patricia was kind of begging Martha to go there, because we just go from Thomas dropping her off and saying, hey, you need to watch out with her. I can't deal with her right now. I'm busy. and then all of a sudden they just go to a party. So it's like she doesn't really even try to say, no, we should not go to this party. We should just stay here while your brother's, doing what he's doing type thing. So I think that was just kind of weird how we didn't see Martha kind of even try to tell Patricia, no, we can't go to this party. We could have needed, I feel like we needed a little bit of a scene to kind of see Martha kind of like eventually give in to Patricia and say, okay, we'll go to this party just for a little bit, right? Because if she had shown her that card, that satanic party, Martha would never have gone to this party in the first place. So I don't know, I feel like we missed that scene, but then again, it is a TV show and they are, limited to time. But this is why I wish it was kind of, these shows are all on streaming service so that they don't have to cut anything for time wise. But they had to, it seems like they might have had to cut that for time. Who knows if they filmed it or not. They probably just, like, we don't need it. We got to cut this scene for them, where Patricia's convincing Martha to go to the party. So then we see that Baron sends Alfred. Alfred shows up to Baron's place there to the informant, the witch with the items that he needed, because he just kind of stumbled upon them type thing, and of course he would type thing. It was kind of predictable. That she sends him on a dream trip type thing, where he sees that the captain, or he comes out of it with the idea that Captain kills Esme, and then him and his friends go after the Captain without any proof or anything, but then there's a note saying, I'm glad you know, now we can move on type thing. So that's kind of interesting there, to seeing if he ends up being the actual killer or not, or if he's being framed, this guy. So that'll be quite cool to see as to where things kind of go with that type of thing. And then we still have the Lord Harrowwood storyline that we're going throughout this episode with, I think he's kind of feeling better type thing. He's starting to get more clarity as to who he is. And then he invites Bet and, the people who are holding him captive pretty much to go move back to London so he can go back into the politics and stuff. So that'll be quite interesting to see as to where things kind of go with that storyline. It's just not starting from now, pick up a little bit of traction, but we'll see as to where things kind of go with it. Now he's only moving back into London. Maybe if next episode he's actually doing some stuff, showing back up to the places where people betrayed him and all that stuff. That'll be quite interesting to see as to where things kind of go with his character. And then we end the episode with Martha Wayne waking up naked in a field alone. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, she's not completely secluded away from anyone. There's still, you see some buildings and stuff, so she'll be able to get back to her place kind of easily. They kind of weird as to where they put her like that. I mean, if you're gonna drug someone and then have them wake up completely alone and naked and all that stuff, wouldn't you want to put them so far away that by the time they get that they might not have somewhere so far away they might not be able to get back. Then again, it also is a big, pretty important character like Martha, Martha Wayne type thing. So that'd be quite interesting to see as to where things kind of go. So I don't know. It seems interesting that scene, like the ending of that. I didn't see that one coming, especially with. A little bit you could see that coming, especially with the way things ended. She kind of, was wandering around and and everything was kind of acting really strange at the party and stuff. But I don't know. Just if you're gonna drug and leave someone like that in that situation, why would you put it so close to civilization? At least it looked like there was a lot of houses right around there. Why don't you not drive, a good 2 or 3 hours away so that the walk, if you're driving a good 2 or 3 hours, that way the walk would take her at least 10 hours, and then she'd be so kind of, if she made it back to anywhere, I think that would have been much more of an interesting situation. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see as to where things go in the next episode. It might be a totally different town that she's not even familiar with. Maybe it's a town where she doesn't even speak the same language. That could be something interesting too. The language barrier is what's probably going to have her get her in trouble type thing. So that could be something if it's a different language, different town. We don't know where she actually is, but I think it'd be quite interesting to see as to where things go for Martha. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. Where do you think things are going? What do you think is going to happen to Martha in this? How do you think she's going to fare in this situation? I think that's going to be quite interesting to see, especially this sort of situation in the 60s. I think that's kind of an interesting idea to see as to how things kind of, how she deals with this situation type of thing could be quite fun to play with. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Okay, Kyle has a YouTube channel called Kyle Reviewed. It's about Marvel and DC. I happen to know a little bit about DC since my initials are DC. All right, so if you like Kyle's interviews and videos and reviews and everything like that, then like and subscribe. If you don't like them, well, maybe you're just not a comic book fan.